Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Well, today I have articles regarding the involvement of countries that are not at war with Russia, but involved in the Russian-Ukrainian war. And there are some escalations on both sides, or all sides, because there's not only two sides here, it seems like. Um, and I will start with the first, I would say, troubling information that I have here from this article, and I'm telling you why, is because that means uh, other countries could be considered part of the war. They, the only thing that they don't have, they're not shooting stuff at the Russians at this point, but or having troops shooting. So there's no shooting, but I think everything else is already covered by the other ones. So let me read you this article from NBC News, um, April 26, 2022, and it says that U.S. Intel helped Ukraine protect air defenses, shot down Russian plane carrying hundreds of troops. So imagine that you are fighting with your neighbor across the street, and then you have another neighbor, another neighbor, another neighbor, that they don't say that they're your enemies. They say they don't like you fighting your across the street neighbor. So then you say, okay, whatever. But then those guys are helping your neighbor with weapons, with food, with, they don't let you sell your stuff in the marketplace because they block the roads, they get your money, they freeze your assets from the banks because one of the neighbors works at the bank. Let's put it this way. But then you have family members who you, in the process of war, you have them transfer from this side of the yard the other side of the yard, and that's a mission that it's covered. It's between your army, within your army. Your neighbor is dumb, doesn't know shit, so he doesn't know your army. Your relatives, your family members gonna cross like that. But you have the other neighbors over there who are a little bit smarter and they're able to figure it out, through, let's say, night vision goggles or something, and they see that you see your family members crossing, and then they notify your neighbor that you are at war, the only one that you are at war, about this transport, and the neighbor that you are at war with, is going to shoot down, is going to kill your family members, because all and only because the other neighbor who is not at war with you, wink wink, you know what I mean, he informed this guy that you are at war with, that your family will cross from this side of the, I don't know, yard to the other side. So now what should you do? What would you do? We say, well, it's okay, shit happens. Would you blame only the neighbor that you are at war with for actually shooting down your, in this case, your family members and killing them? Or you will say, without the information provided by the other neighbor, this guy that I'm at war actually with would not have been able to kill my people. So should I try to kill the neighbor, the snitch neighbor, try to kill his members, his family? Should I try that in this analogy or not? What would you do? I think you would do that. You would go full force on the neighbor whose information provided with the one that you were at war with caused your family members to die. Well, this is what actually happens here. United States, who's not at war with Russia, provided Ukraine, who's at war with Russia, with information like, hey, stupid, go over there. You see those guys over there? Shoot at them. Dead. Oh, it's okay. It was us. It was you who pulled the trigger and you killed them. But who were the ones who knew my guys were over there? Oh, the other neighbor, which in this case is the United States. How would you consider that being? I'm not going to spill it out here because it's too obvious. Only a Rita could not be able to figure that out. So this is what these guys are doing, and they are happy about it. Medals, put medals, and they're fantastic. But they don't want to be considered part of the war, because then they would get it. That means they would get some things sent towards them. They don't want, we're not part of the war. Don't hit us back with any nuclear or whatever you got. Do not do that. I'm not talking about conventional. I'm talking about the real thing. Don't do that, because we're not part of the war. But this is part of the war, what you just did. So these guys are just happy about it. And this is, it's A-okay. There's no problem with that. There's no, it's fine. That's fine. It says here that the real-time intelligence sharing also paved the way for Ukraine to shoot down a Russian transport plane carrying hundreds of troops in the early days of the war. So that didn't happen yesterday. It happened at the beginning of the war. So this is actually is like this. If I would be a Ukrainian, I would say, okay, I'm fighting against the Russians, but don't I see that my country is going to be destroyed and used as a battleground, and my people will be used as a guinea pig by those guys over there that don't actually care about me? Wouldn't that anger me? Because they use me as fighting these guys who are my, if I'm not going to say half brother, at least cousins, and I'm fighting with these guys for you. And you support the war. That means more of my people will die. And who's gonna be here? More of our people will die. And they test their weapons. Yeah, I know how it goes. Well, they invaded, blah, 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 blah. Everything was channelized towards, let's have war. Look at I'm always gonna point out the Minsk agreement. Sorry, that's the one that was supposed to be followed, and he wasn't. So there you have it. These guys help the other ones, but they're not part of the war. And then if they're going to get something, or we were going to get something, then we're going to be all like, crazy Putin, crazy Russians. Are they crazy? Put yourself in the other person's shoes and see how would that be. And I want the war to stop. I don't like hypocrisy and this kind of, hanky-panky here. So this was one of the, from the get-go, we launched pretty heavy forward in sharing. We learned pretty heavy forward in sharing both strategic and actionable intelligence with the Ukraine. A U.S. official briefed on the matter told NBC News. It's been impactful both at a tactical and a strategic level. There are examples where you could tell a pretty clear story that this made a major difference. Okay. Well, I'm not going to go further than that because it's just an example how they share intelligence, how great they are. This article is a glorifying article. If United States would be at war or part of the war, I would have no problem with that. I would have no problem with that. Yeah, okay, you help your friend that is, you are part of the war. But like this, you help your friends by providing deadly information that your friend would not have. You're part of the war, buddy. So if this would be part of the, like let's say Second World War, yeah, okay. France shared with England information. Great Britain shared with France information when there was a blitzkrieg, when the Germans invaded, via the Netherlands, Belgium, and the lowlands, right? And they went around the Maginot Line, and the French were like, "Where are these guys going? Hey, the Maginot Line is right here. You gotta be like this. First World War, remember First World War?" But the Germans were inventive, and they bypassed it by invading a few countries in the process. But they were enemies. Well, okay, we're enemies at this point, but not like, let's say the English would have provided information to the French. Yeah, they were at war already. Declarations of war. But here, it is just, and then look, we know that there are a lot of, the military aid and a lot of stuff that is transported to Ukraine by countries around Ukraine, and everybody's happy about it. Everybody's like, yeah, that's okay, no problem. And then there's transports of, for instance, old Russian or Soviet military equipment from Slovakia to to Ukraine. Now, Poland is transferring from Poland to Ukraine. And after they do this, they say, oh, we're not part of the war. But Poles say, we're not part of the war. I'm sorry. But then here in the defense news, Yaroslav Adamovich, from April 26, 2022, it says Poland confirms T-72 tank delivery to Ukraine with Challenger 2 tanks to fill the gap. So the Poles are giving the Ukrainians things to kill the Russians, their enemy, and they will buy from the Americans, from us, will buy equipment, military equipment. Now, should the Poles be considered a part of the war? Active? Well, actually, you help my enemy, so you're not my friend. And then there's not escalation when these countries just provide ammunition and intelligence and tanks and whatever they provide, even S-300s, Slovakia provide to these guys. There's no escalation. There's not escalation. That's, I don't know what it is. De-escalation, when you provide a guy with more bullets, that's escalation. You say, no, they have to defend themselves because they were attacked. Okay, that's fair. But then we have here, for instance, the Poles now are crying, like they always do, unless they have a few buddies behind them to fight against someone. Otherwise, if it's one-on-one, they get punched in the mouth, and I don't like it. I have to tell you that as it is. Look at their history. I don't have to tell you that. All right? So it says here, well, if you guys feel upset about your history, maybe you should change it. Now, don't yell at me. So it says here that, where is that at? We got too many here. Poland says Russia warned that net gas supply will stop on Wednesday. So they're like, oh no, Russia, and this is from Market Watch, by Market Watch and the 26th of April. And then it's another article, when again Poland cries and say, we're gonna remain without gas from Russia. That's not fair. We deliver military equipment to Ukraine, but when the Russians are stopping sending us gas, that's not fair. No. Unbelievable. And they are the victims. They are the victims now. The Poles are the victims. And they look back at the Americans and say, that wasn't supposed to happen. What are we going to do about it? And the Americans are, I don't care, man. Just stay over there. And I don't know, your people, I don't know, do something. Do something. Yeah, the Poland gives all gas supply, gives weaponry, and the other guy is cutting the gas. Here we have Russia halts gas shipments to Poland, signaling escalation again, EU report says. So when the Russians are responding, that's escalation. When these guys are initiating, that's not escalation. What is going on? This is an article from Business Insider. I'm going to make a full video on this little discrepancy. But I was just at the idea that America is part of a war. United States right now, they provide these guys with intelligence that ended up in people dead, military, that you have nothing to do with. No declaration of war. It's just disagreement. I disagree, Russia, with your decision. I condemn your decision to attack Ukraine. That's all that it is. That's all what it is. In order to do such a thing, you have to be part of it and say, you know what? I'm part of it. I'm on this guy's side, and I'm going to help them fight you. What do you become under that scenario? What do you become? You become an active participant in the war. So expect. And yeah, we're going to talk about more in the next video I will post regarding Americans shrugging off Russians' warnings that atomic bombs, nuclear weapons could be used, and World War III is about to start. But they said they're not going to do it. Okay, we'll see. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just. See ya.